So, once again, it is I, the loose cannon, and it is Sam Killa, the wrestling connoisseur. Just throw some more chips in there.
I just Braun Strowman a thing of nachos.
Yeah, he didn't want to eat on camera.
I didn't. Angie does.
I don't care. I'm just a fat chick. All
right, okay. We're going to do WWE Weekend Review.
Yep.
I don't remember anything. Here's my weekend review really quick. There was Raw. Braun Strowman wasn't on it, so it sucked.
Yeah, what a weird...
Shane shows up. AJ was still there, wrestled in a 6-man tag. Under Siege, all of SmackDown, the whole roster, except the main guys, but they still called it the whole roster, attacked Raw and beat the crap out of them, and that's how it ended. And then SmackDown come along, and there was no retaliation.
Yeah. So it's encapsulating it. I'm going to go through a little bit more in detail.
She's going to go through detail.
So Kurt Angle, first thing on Monday Night Raw, comes out right in the beginning and pretty much runs down the card for Survivor Series. Champion versus champion matches all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Seems kind of like a missed opportunity to actually give other people chances to
Yeah, I was really hoping for traditional Survivor Series with, both brands having at least like 2 or 3 matches of traditional Survivor Series, building some feuds.
Yeah.
And some angles to lead into...
angles, get it? Because...
No. To lead into, the Royal Rumble, to lead into WrestleMania. And, really now's the time to do that.
To start laying these plans.
Of course, their plans apparently are different than mine.
Who knew?
I can imagine. My daughter keeps asking me, can't you just buy them out and then book what you want? I'm like, no. We have to wait till they're all dead. But yeah, it's mind-boggling to me that they would have a SmackDown versus Raw pay-per-view as Survivor Series instead of Night of Champions.
Yeah.
Since that would make more sense. They've traditionally have had Night of Champions, champion versus champion, that I can remember.
The last one that they had was not that.
It wasn't, which didn't make any sense to me either.
It was because it was a Raw exclusive pay-per-view.
Yeah. But, so, it
is
what it is.
That's a whole nother rant also. But, so, Kurt Angle was interrupted by The Miz, sort of setting up a possible feud between the two of them. Miz kind of gets in his face. Ambrose and Rollins comes out to even up the odds. And Kurt Angle's like, no, but I'm not going to fight on your guys' side. But there is someone else that will. And then cue AJ Styles.
He's here for another night.
Styles, Hotel India Echo Lima Delta Shield. And he stayed the extra night, which then gets talked about later by Shane. Shane's like, oh yeah, and we also let you borrow him tonight too.
Yeah. And they go through that whole promo backstage. He's like, Shane, why are you here? And it's like, oh, that's Styles. He's like, we're willing to buy out AJ from you. And it's like, oh no, but you're going to be under siege when it's Survivor Series, SmackDown versus Raw.
Yeah.
Hashtag
under siege. So then there was that tag team match that was Miz and The Bar versus Shield and Styles, in which Shield and Styles did end up getting the win. Of course, Styles unfortunately gets attacked by everyone afterwards. Sort of like sending a message or whatever. Who knows? So then Kane comes out and demands competition. And who does he get? Finn Balor. Now, after his big win against Styles, you'd think, oh man, he's gonna come out here and beat Kane and overcome the odds. No.
It was a really quick match, actually.
It was essentially a squash match, which is a shame. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, is this just a way for them to crush the Bullet Club? Because they had
apparently
their two leaders.
Apparently, that came
lose
straight
in matches
from Vince McMahon.
Yeah, no, that's why
Balor was going to take the fall to Kane.
Yeah, that's why I think it's trying to crush the Bullet Club. Because Styles lost to Finn. Mm-hmm. Finn loses to Kane. Mm-hmm. Both of them lost 2 days in a row. which means that the leaders
know.
of the Bullet Club, I guess, aren't that strong, according to the WWE. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, is this, stemming off of this Bullet Club feud?
I think it is.
That they're going to attack their own wrestlers that were part of the Bullet Club.
I think they would. That? I do think they would.
That's it. That seems really spiteful and idiotic to me if they would do that. Not putting it beyond them because they have done just that for wrestlers who were part of WCW who are now under their contract and just wasted them.
Like Sting.
Like DDP.
Is my biggest example. In
Booker
recent
T
history.
had to be like a team player for years before he was used properly. So, I mean, it's not beyond them. I just find it hilarious that it happens.
It's just a waste.
From when somebody suggests that maybe they're looking at it like Balor to defeat big names has to wear the demon persona.
And not be the real rock and roller.
Right. I don't know. It's idiotic. Everybody complained, or not everybody complained. I complained about AJ's loss to Balor at the pay-per-view, how it was just a waste. And then the next night they one-up me.
They did. They did. They absolutely did.
They
watched the video and they were just like,
They one-up me and have Kane beat Balor.
Kane chokeslammed him all over the ring, essentially.
So I don't know.
Who knows?
Not much I can really say about that. I mean, it
what else is there to say?
It's beyond me how they think that this would help in booking or fans or anything.
Or should help anyone at all.
So, yeah, that's pretty much. In other news, Finn Balor was recently released. No, he wasn't. That's a joke because they did recently release a bunch of guys.
Speaking of releases, so the next match that they had was a rematch between Emma and Asuka, in which Emma lost. Surprising no one.
Yeah, that didn't surprise me. But then I found out today that Emma was released, and I am just kind of in awe since, one, they just had her win a major match to face Asuka. She faced Asuka twice, and they've actually kind of used Emma recently.
So kind of surprising.
Yeah.
The other two releases, which were Darren Young and Summer Rae, a little bit less surprising.
Yeah, because
I'm a big fan of Mr. No Days Off, but
they haven't used them in forever.
In quite some time. Summer Rae's been off TV for over a year.
And of course, Darren Young was injured for a huge portion, and they just never was able to
get him back on track
with him.
Besides,
I don't
in
fault
primetime
him
players
at all for that.
Oh, not at all.
It's just they need to find someone to put him with and push them. He would have been a great tag partner for Jason Jordan, honestly, in a new tag team for Raw. But
we're not writing. So the next thing that happens after the Asuka versus Emma, Alexa Bliss comes out and talks about how she had the match of her life the night before at Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, and nobody's chanting for her, nobody's cheering for her, nobody's giving her the "You deserve it" chants.
Yes.
Mickie James comes out, kind of has a little showdown. DDTs her. Mickie DDTs her, as I think Mickie James' version is called. And it's like, you're right, Alexa Bliss. You really do deserve it. After she lays her out, is great. I like Mickie James. I was sad she didn't get that win, but it's whatever. So the next match after that was Elias Samson versus Jason Jordan, in which Elias Samson finally hits Jason Jordan with the...
I don't know, did I call it on...
You did. You called it in the last video we did.
Yeah. And I was just recently talking to him.
Because you're just like, because they don't make him do that. I'm like, yeah, they did once, and then right after they did it again.
Yeah, it's like, I was glad that he has this gimmick and he doesn't use the guitar every show to blast someone over the head to get away with a win or whatever.
I mean, he got disqualified, so it wasn't a win.
Right, but
it's just a moral victory, as it were.
It's almost so cliche to do that just because the guy has a guitar. And I know that's what it's there for, kind of, but personally, it was a little refreshing to see him not do it.
And then he did it.
At least it's not every week so far, like Jeff Jarrett or something.
JEFFJARRE
Yes, the original Road Dogg.
But all right, so moving on after that, the next thing that happened was Brock Lesnar comes out, or Brock Lesnar and Paul and Paul Heyman.
Paul Lesnar comes out with Brock Heyman.
Yeah. And responds to Jinder Mahal. Unshook.
It's the usual shtick
yeah.
that they give for their thing. And of course, Heyman's great. You know, he cuts the best promo in the business. The
make-believe Maharaja and the sing-along boys is what they call. Is what I believe he called them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm feel differently than most people, and I think that
Jinder should remain unhindered.
Jinder should win by, at least, someone interfering and costing Brock the match. Whether Bollywood Boys or whoever.
Joe
would be great. I would be all for Joe winning.
That's what I was chanting during tables, ladders, and chairs in the main event. I was just like, come on. Kurt Angle's out. Joe. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. But it would have been cool. Anyway, the next match that happened was a triple threat between Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Alicia Fox to see who was going to be the captain for the Raw women's team at Survivor Series.
And we called Alicia Fox to win
after
the pre-show for TLC, which didn't happen. But
after a Bayley to belly, Alicia Fox won.
Yes, very surprising.
She Bayley to bellied Bayley.
Say that 10 times fast.
Bayley to belly, Bayley. Bayley to belly, Bayley. I already screwed it up. It's okay. It's not okay.
It's not
dead
okay.
inside.
Not okay.
But yeah, so Alicia Fox is the only confirmed member of the
captain,
of the Raw women's team right now. She's the team captain to go up against Becky Lynch as the SmackDown team women's team captain. Be interesting. So the next thing that happens is a 5-on-5 tag team match, cruiserweights. So it was Kalisto, Mustafa Ali, Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, and Graham Metalik versus Enzo Amore, Arya Daivari, Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Noam Dar. Drew Gulak cut the promo because Enzo lost his voice. He's already losing his voice at TLC. So Drew Gulak came out and cut the promo, and he's like, his name is Enzo Amore. It was great. I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Drew Gulak as the days go by.
I like Gulak. I wish they put Gallagher with Gulak.
Is the two gentlemen grapplers?
Yeah, I think it could work.
And so they tried to do it with the Vaudevillains, and that worked out so well.
I liked the Vaudevillains.
I know, but nobody else did apparently.
Yeah, well, I think what's his name? Simon had a little bit of heat on him or something.
Oh, he did. He got into fights with people.
Yeah. So there's that, and then the other one's a Guerrero. So what are you gonna do?
I mean, they let go the actual good.
They did. Yeah. So
who knows?
I don't know.
But then the next big thing that happened is Shane McMahon comes out, Kurt Angle comes out, and Shane McMahon comes out and confronts him and is like...
And I had problems with that skit, too, because it's like, here you have Kurt Angle, who is Kurt Angle, who was in the match the night before against Miz, The Bar, Braun Strowman, and Kane, and who in their right mind is going to just sign up for that match to begin with?
Kurt Angle.
Someone who has balls.
Yeah.
For one, and is a badass, which is Kurt Angle. And then you have SmackDown Under Siege comes out, and Angle is beside himself.
Yeah, it was so weird.
And it's like, okay, well, for one, everybody that's there is a jobber. So Angle's not going to really fret anybody that come out through there. In the WWE universe, not the fans, but like in that created world, Angle would have probably taken out everybody that came, which
Angle slamming people everywhere,
which made it kind of ludicrous. Like here they all come out and Angle runs.
He's like, "Oh no!"
And he doesn't just run to the back to say, "Hey guys, come on, let's go get him." He apparently just ran.
His books.
He just was leaving because the locker rooms were not prepared at all.
Not at all.
The SmackDown guys come in, they just start tearing through everybody.
Yeah, so New Day comes in and it's like, Titus Worldwide! And Apollo Crews are like, "Oh, hey guys, how's it going?" They beat up Apollo Crews and I cried.
And it was Kofi. Kofi's like, "Hey, what's up, Apollo?" And then they just beat him down.
And I wept for Apollo Crews because I love him.
I have such mixed feelings.
Chad Gable went straight after Jason Jordan.
That was good.
That was excellent. I was distraught though because Chad Gable. I love Jason Jordan. He's bae. It's still my favorite sign I've ever seen. But so I mean that was a nice sort of touch.
I was just really beside myself with that whole
Dana Brooke was shook
storyline because
and Baron Corbin beat up a worker because he's the scrubbiest of scrubs. He's the literal worst.
Although I will say this, when I saw Rusev coming down, I was like, "Who is that?" Because him dressed like all the others, he looked massive.
Yeah,
I was like, "My God, is that Rusev?" And like here, everybody else comes down. He wasn't
even beating people up that much.
Rusev is just like
he was just like, "Yeah, guys, get him." He like didn't even.
He kicked like one guy. I think.
He didn't.
And I was just like,
much,
"Holy shit!" Rusev looked intimidating compared to everybody else.
Finally.
Yeah, I mean
Let's rebuild him from here.
Yeah, seriously.
So then, pretty much all the locker rooms get cleared out.
Even the women. The women destroyed the women.
Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins try and fight back because they try and ambush him. They're just like they're walking by, and then you see Seth Rollins jump and Dean Ambrose get a chair, and then they quickly.
It worked for a little bit.
They again lose the numbers game because they do not have their biggest of big dogs, Roman Reigns.
Right, but the bad part is like Corey Graves is going on. Oh my God, it's the whole SmackDown roster. I mean, visibly you can see there's no gender.
There's no Sami.
There's no Usos. There's no Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
There's no Randy Orton.
There's no Randy Orton. There's nobody that's any name quality like up on the up and up. Like the New Day was the biggest name.
Oh yeah,
they had.
Easily.
Who was leading the charge basically.
Sami
Zayn
actually lampshaded it and had said something like,
there was
I don't fight for
Ziggler and Rude were there.
It was like I don't fight for people I consider to be tyrants under siege, and I was just like,
so I mean
character work.
I don't know. I kind of would have rather have seen the people they were going to use in this 5-on-5 match and Shane come in and attack the others and left it at that instead of like dismantling like the whole locker room aspect, especially since SmackDown was definitely portrayed as the villains in this.
Yeah, SmackDown was definitely heel.
It's really hard, I think, to see all the faces as heels.
Oh yeah, and Shane was,
despite it's a mob mentality.
was the most jarring part of it all because he came and he was like, at Survivor Series, bring your best guys, bring your Olympic medal. And he's like, we're still gonna take you out. Oh, it's true.
Yeah,
it's damn true.
And even on SmackDown, which we're gonna bleed right into.
Yeah.
Shane was kind of playing it up as a heel.
Yeah, he was like, in my time in life, in my career, I've learned that sometimes you have to be the one to strike first. He was like, Styles, we let AJ Styles stay there, and he sort of was like the gatekeeper, as it were, and like let the rest of us in. And I was like, this is what everyone called as soon as AJ Styles showed up at Monday Night Raw. They're like, oh man, Styles is going to let the rest of the roster in. And that's literally what they said he did.
I just found this storyline very poorly done.
It was a cheap pop.
It was. It was something... And even worse, like we're going to go start talking about SmackDown. So the retaliation, which everybody expected, and no retaliation at all. And the reasoning supposedly is that it was
Too predictable.
And for me, it's like a business who lives by cliches. And they do. Wrestling is a business about cliches.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's probably the only writing format for entertainment-wise. It's the only writing format that lives by cliches. Any other style of writing, they're like, nope, it's cliche, you got to cut it. But in wrestling, it's all about cliches. The guitar shot that what's his face did, it's cliche. You know it's going to come sooner or later.
Yeah.
It has come sooner before, but it come again already. But, I mean, it's all about cliches. So for a business that is all about cliches to say, well, it's unpredictable, so let's hold it off, and you never know when they're going to attack.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, okay, well, then obviously that can't be next week if it's supposed to be you never going to know. So the more they hold this out over people's heads, I don't think people are going to keep tuning in just to see
just to wait
Raw
for
attack.
It. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody's going to do that.
I think if I had to call it, I would say it would be at the SmackDown before Survivor Series,
which is ridiculous. I mean, you're already gonna have this match, so it's like, I don't know. They should have done it the next night. Raw retaliate, or my thinking was, if you're gonna have all these guys, all your jobbers basically, and just a few other guys, if you're gonna have them attack. Have them going through the locker room. Have them in the back celebrating. Yeah, we did this. And then the door opens up. And who is it? Braun. And that's where they meet their stopping point.
Yeah.
And have Braun literally take out everybody.
Everyone.
So it's kind of reversed in the fact that, okay, oh shit, what are we going to do? Then like next coming Monday, they would announce, who's the team captain? Braun. And except have Braun turn Kurt Angle down. And then build it up that way. But, I mean, that would be the thing. So, and not having the retaliation, or you could even done that on SmackDown the next night, the retaliation come, and then, like, SmackDown looks like they're overcoming Raw, but then Braun shows up. And
yeah.
That's the guy that's your Trojan horse. But they didn't do any of that. No. So the whole night, you're kind of left with this overhanging feeling like something's missing.
Is it gonna happen?
The end of the show comes
and then it didn't happen. You're kind of
you're super let down by the end of the show. Like, okay, it looked like
because you spend so much time waiting for it.
Yeah, there was no build. Like there was no payoff at the end of the show. It was just like, okay, that was it. So the highlight was the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn moment, I guess.
Yep. So basically, what happened after Shane McMahon cuts his promo in the beginning, it's like, yeah, no, we had to strike first. Sami Zayn comes out, and they have their sort of showdown in the ring, because it's the first time they've seen each other since Hell in a Cell. And Sami's like, hey, no hard feelings.
Heel Sami to the max.
Loved it. I'm all about circle. Heel Sami, frankly.
It's full circle.
Yeah, he comes in, it's like in his face dancing. I was like, this is everything I dreamed. This is better than all my dreams. And so, like I said, he goes, oh yeah, no hard feelings. And Shane's like, oh yeah, no, a lot of hard feelings. I could have been hurt. And Sammy's just like, oh yeah, well, I understand you're upset. But let me just say, it's lucky that you're in this ring as commissioner and not in this ring as a competitor. Because if you were in this ring as a competitor, I'd take you out in a second. Worse than Hell in a Cell. And I just melted. Yeah. I was just like...
And then he cuts away real quick. Like, but that's for another time.
But that's for another time. And so then he announces why he came out. He's like, so, I was talking to my best friend, my brother, Kevin Owens. And did you know we're brothers? And best friends?
It seemed like the crowd was chanting too something about Kevin Owens. He was like, you would appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Owens had to leave their tour early due to family things.
Reasons, yeah.
So he had sent out this message over Twitter saying, hey, thanks everyone for your support, being conspicuously face-like. but that's another
Yeah.
theory. But again, so he basically is talking, me and Kevin were talking, and, we thought, hey, all right, we're going to take the burden on our shoulders like we do every night, and we're going to carry the team like how they carry the brand. So, you need Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on the SmackDown Live Survivor Series team. Shane laughs in his face, basically. And it's like, oh, no, well, like how you always like to talk about opportunities, right, Sammy? I'm going to give you the opportunity to earn your way into being on the Survivor Series team. And Sammy's like, yeah, sure, whatever, Confident. Cocky. Love it.
How a heel's supposed to act?
I'm all about heel Sammy. I've been waiting for this for years. I never thought it'd happen. And every Tuesday it just gets better and better. So then Shane McMahon announces, oh yeah, no, you just have to fight someone, and if you win, you're on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Who does he have to fight? Randy Orton. The guy he just punched in the balls nearly 1 week ago.
And it come back to haunt him.
Oh yeah, it did. So the next match that happened after that was New Day versus Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable with a video package of...
And Usos on commentary.
Yeah, with a video package, again, going over how when Benjamin and Gable cut a promo with the Usos, and they were just like, ha! Chad Gable is the nerdiest motherfucker of all time.
Usos who were amazingly face-ish on commentary.
Yeah. I love it. I just love Usos all the time.
Which it feels like they're trying to transition the Usos to a face tag team with the current gimmick. And it almost felt like they're trying to turn Gable and Shelton heel.
Yeah,
especially with the ending of the match was Shelton kicked was it Xavier?
Kicked
Xavier in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And Gable pinned him.
After lateral press.
Kind of a weird finish,
and then Mama Bear Big E's like hugging his comrades, like, it's all right. Yeah. I love that. Next match after that, or the next promo after that. Shelton Benjamin.
No.
I can't do it. Benjamin. I can't do it like this. I can't. I wish I could. So the next thing that happened after that was a backstage promo between Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Tamina, Lana, and Naomi, where they're talking about how much ass they kicked when they went over to Raw. Carmella comes in and is looking for her lost dog, James Ellsworth. Shakes the empty leash, like, has any of you seen them? Daniel Bryan comes down, like,
shows up.
We're gonna send out a search party immediately.
Yeah.
But good news, all of you. So that's 6 of them. That's Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Tamina, Lana, Naomi, and now
all of
Carmella.
You are going to be on the 5-on-5 Raw vs. SmackDown women's match.
And Lana's like, wait, but there are 6 of us.
Oh yeah, not you.
That was so good. I loved that. I laughed
because it just was so natural.
And then she was pouty for the rest of the promo. She was just like.
So it was a good little quick promo in the back. Yeah,
and they had a sort of tiff between who's going to be the team leader. Charlotte's like, don't worry, I'll be team leader. I'll be team captain. And Becky Lynch's like, no. And that sets up, but I mean, Charlotte's...
The 5...
Yeah, that set up the Fatal 5-Way. Yeah. But Charlotte's argument was that she was on the winning team last year because she was on Raw's team and they ended up winning last year. So, a decent argument. But, of course, so that set up for the match later in the night to determine who was going to be the SmackDown women's team captain. So, the next thing that happened after that was Fashion Dogs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both members of Breezango are Mr. Pink. Fandango is Mr. Tickle Me Pink. And Tyler Breeze is Mr. Hot Pink. I love this. Tyler Breeze should be Mr. Hot Pink all the time. I think Jimmy Jacobs must have had this in his back pocket and just was like, this is the last thing he threw out.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably written these things up like one drug-induced night. He wrote up like the whole thing that they're going to do with Breezango.
Yeah.
So all these backstage, I'm hoping all these little backstage vignettes are just like there's like 6 years worth.
Yeah,
that he's already wrote out.
That's why they work though, is because he knows how to
Yeah.
write for both of these characters, and it works. So they captured Ellsworth, and when they try to talk to him, he barks like a dog. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Attitude Era. We're lampshading so hard. So Carmella finds them and is mad at Ellsworth for not guarding her briefcase. They look inside. They're just like, oh, it's the briefcase. They look inside, and they pull out Ellsworth's dirty underwear. Again, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back to the Attitude Era. They were very dirty.
The best part is when Fandango just throws it over his shoulder. And he's all like...
Oh, it was so bad. It was
just like cringe-worthy, like, oh.
So then Carmella's mad and just like, you're a very bad boy,
wipe
James.
his mouth with him.
And you know, like, she went backstage and just like whipped him or something. It's the Attitude Era. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to imply it all. So then afterwards, they talk and they're like, oh, you know, but what about 2B? 2B or not 2B? Tube, whatever. It's the Bludgeon Brothers. No, it can't be the Bludgeon Brothers. There's no B in Brothers.
The B is silent. Yeah. I really do wish, though, that...
And next week is Stranger
they
Things.
would get rid of the face makeup for...
I will be very upset if Tyler Breeze ends up wearing a dress. I will be actually pissed if they dress him up as 11 and make him wear the dress. I feel like it's going to happen, and I'm going to be angry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's...
I don't know what can be said about that.
So, next thing after that is a short promo between Shane and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan basically being like, hey, why'd you
Daniel Bryan being a straight man, you know, and
Shane's just like, you know, I was just doing, I just had to, you know, I just had to, sometimes the commissioner's job is to override, you know, gotta think ahead. And Daniel Bryan shows that he was not on board with this at all. He didn't even know about this. He doesn't even agree that they ended up doing this, and he feels really like he was overruled. Shane's just like, yeah, well, that's my job. So showing some signs of disunity between them.
Which is good.
Which I like. It's very interesting, but also made me go, ruh-roh. I think
they're starting to paint a picture, you know, whether they eventually re-sign Daniel Bryan and have him as a wrestler again,
or have something like this be his send-off,
or this be the way they get rid of him.
Who knows?
Either way, the fans win.
Yeah.
I mean, he will wrestle again, so
that's what we want.
It just depends on where it's at.
But yeah, so next match was Sin Cara versus Baron Corbin again. Baron Corbin loses by disqualification. I love this. Just rack up those losses. Just because, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to have one U.S. title run, but then just tons of losses on the record books. Just tons of losses. Rack them up. Because then at the end of the day, they'll just be like, oh, well, he was kind of a jobber because look at how many times he lost.
I did notice that Sin Cara was announced at like 199 pounds. And I was like, what?
That is probably inaccurate, but...
Yeah, I thought, well, he looks like he's way over 199.
I was like, he looks like he's way over 205.
Yeah.
I love Sin Cara.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if he's not over 205, he should be down there, like, obliterating people. Like, seriously. Because he's way bigger than everybody else.
That's their next ace in the hole after, because see, Kalisto, they already had him lose, and he didn't re-win his champion. He didn't win the rematch. So there's that.
I don't know.
So
just the current ongoing loopholes that WWE has in their writing work that. It's like, okay, maybe not announce that Sin Cara's, you know, under 200 pounds if you're not going to include him in the division.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why they stopped announcing Balor's weight.
Right.
Because he is well under 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing...
like a $150.
Yeah. So the next thing that happens is Jinder Mahal responds to Paul Heyman's promo from last night, calling him a liar, and says that he is Brock Lesnar's worst nightmare. Okay. Sure you are, buddy.
Hey, don't hinder Jinder.
I never hindered Jinder.
That's the
My note
Maharaja.
here actually says, please let Jinder remain unhindered, please.
Please twice.
Yes. That's how much I want that to happen. So, then they have the match, right? Sunil Singh / Gurv Sira goes against AJ Styles, and AJ Styles wins with the calf crusher.
Yeah.
Then they have
Same shtick as last week with. I don't know. It was later on, I think, when they have them do the same thing.
except
The other
with
one's
Samir.
He's like,
It'll be phenomenal. And Daniel Bryan's like, you made that joke last week. Don't act like I didn't know. So next thing after that is Sami Zayn's in the locker room. KO comes in. It's like, oh yeah, I got a qualifier match next week against Shinsuke Nakamura. So Sammy's like, oh yeah, we're both gonna be victorious, and we're both gonna be on the SmackDown Live team, and it's gonna be Team Kevin and Sammy. And KO goes, no, it's gonna be Team Sammy and Kevin. And I love this. Again, in my notes, I love this.
I am very happy that they're back together.
Oh yeah. True BFFs for life.
I really felt they should have done it when Jericho had like Sammy come in and take out Jericho. But we got it.
My real best friend.
Uh.
So again, next thing is Natalya enters the Fatal 5-Way, even though she's not actually in the Fatal 5-Way. She just does her entrance because she's the
Queen of Hearts.
Becky Lynch ends up winning when she taps out Carmella for the SmackDown Women's Team Captain. Another video package of the Bludgeon Brothers. I hope this goes somewhere. Who knows? Ziggler interviewed with his new catchphrase. I told you so. Rude comes by, and Ziggler calls him out and is like, oh, you think we're friends just because we beat up people yesterday? We're not friends. So it basically sets up, because of the fact that Rude won one, Ziggler won one.
Yeah.
Next one's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match.
2 out of 3. What's
And
going to be after
it's
that?
also going to be a...
Best of 5.
No, but I mean, it's also going to be a qualifier match to see who gets on the team for SmackDown Live. So we'll see.
I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be Rude.
I think so too.
Because they'll be wanting to push Rude. So.
Yeah.
This would be a good way to get him out of the Ziggler feud into bigger stuff.
Yeah. So Randy Orton ends up winning against Sami Zayn after a low blow of his own, after an unintentional distraction from KO. Then after that, KO and RKO stare off, have this sort of stare off showdown. Daniel Bryan and Shane again at the end of the show is like, oh yeah, we got our first member of the SmackDown Live Survivor Series team. And Daniel Bryan's just like, Raw didn't attack tonight, but they're probably going to attack sooner or later. So you're going to have to be the one to deal with the consequences.
That's part of your job.
Yeah. So then a couple other things, trying to go through really quickly the rest of WWE. 205 had Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander again versus Tony Nese and Noam Dar. Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander ended up getting the win after Dar took a lumbar check.
And they've done this match like several times now?
This match, not specifically, but they've had Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander tag a lot recently. So then, D. Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher come out. And it's like, Cedric, you proved us wrong at Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. You showed us that you do have what it takes. You're a good competitor. You're a good athlete. But your partner's dragging you down. And so they basically like, you can hang with us. And we can show you how to be a winner. Because then they have the whole thing of, the Brian Kendrick trying to be the puppet master, as it were. And it's like, all you have to do...
Drop that dead weight.
Is drop that dancing dead weight. So he has until next week, until this coming Tuesday, actually, to decide if he's with them or against them. And if not, then they're going after Swan next. Like, they're going to beat up Rich Swann.
See, I have bad feelings for this because I feel like they're going to split up the tag team that I really want to see get promoted and be like the very first 205 tag team champions, which they should do. Or even just be a tag team that competes on Raw against Raw tag teams. And, they don't have to be like the super successful But it would
Just
be good
throw
to
him
see
in there
him.
every so often.
Yeah.
Just throw him in there.
But if they're gonna split them up already, and have one turn heel, it's kind of, I don't know.
So they had Drew Gulak being crazy again with the no chance sign. He talked about how the powers that be didn't let him complete his entire presentation of 277 slides of the rules of 205, according to Drew Gulak. And he talks about taking out Tozawa and how he, no chance, no flying, no nothing. He's a crazy bitch. I like this new Drew Gulak. I'm really starting to be sold on him. I like this sort of angle that they're giving him.
See, I would really like to see them include the 205 guys more, especially like this guy. If he's all talking about no chance, they should have him as McMahon's assistant, and have him be like, have Angle taken out in whatever capacity, especially if he's unprepared to come back into wrestling, and have him be the general manager. Vince McMahon's personal assistant as general manager of Raw.
That'd be cool.
And
I'd be
then
okay
carry
with
that over to
I mean, he could pull it
205.
off. He ended up getting his own match this week against Gran Metalik, which he beat, which I thought was really surprising and kind of a big win because Gran Metalik was in the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
It was either going to be him or TJP, and it ended up being, of course, TJP. But, I mean, it's a pretty big win for Drew Gulak.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that they're trying to push him. Unfortunately for Drew Gulak, there's one person that they like better than him, and that's Akira Tozawa. So Akira Tozawa comes out and kicks Gulak out of the ring and basically beats him up and starts doing his ha, ha, ha chant again, which I love. And then,
Titus
of course,
Worldwide.
the main event of 205 was the rematch between Kalisto and Enzo Amore for the title. So, of course, Enzo won it again. Kalisto got his rematch because of course, the rematch clause. And Enzo gets himself disqualified by kicking the ref.
Enzo.
So
What
another
can be
dirty
said?
win.
I do like the dirty wins because obviously
It would be
Enzo-
unbelievable to have him
yeah.
get a clean win. But
it helps his character. It's working well. I don't know where they're going to go with it all.
and then finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the NXT for last week Wednesday, which I thought was an excellent NXT. So at the top of the show, William Regal announces that there's going to be a women's battle royale to see who's going to be the final contender in the Fatal 4-Way match for the vacant NXT women's title. And he announces that due to the fact that during the match that she had participated in, an outside interference caused her pinfall, she's going to be placed in the match. So Nikki Cross gets put into the match,
Okay.
the women's battle royale. And he announces that next week, the Authors of Pain will get their rematch against Sanity.
Very surprising.
And whoever isn't competing in the tag match specifically, out of Sanity and out of any other tag teams, are banned from ringside.
I figured Authors of Pain were gone from NXT at this point.
No, I think this is their one last match.
Yeah.
Because it's usually for the tag teams. They'll get that rematch to see if they can win their titles back, and if once they lose that, then that's when they move up. That's what happened with Lucha Dragons. That's what happened with Ascension. That's what happened with Dash and Dawson. A lot of them. So that's typically their style, I believe, with the tag teams is they'll get that shot to see if they can win it one last time, and if they can't, then they go up.
I really figured that they would have been a good choice to had brought in during the Shield thing. They would look like they would fit right in with Shield.
Yeah, aesthetics. So the next match they had over there was Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. I can't remember what their tag team name is called. I know they had one though. Over Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. So sort of pushing Tino Sabatelli because they are a big fan of him. Riddick Moss, I'm not that big of a fan of because he injured Kenta.
Right.
But that's going back to it. So after that, Morrow goes over recapping the other women's matches that led up to the Fatal 4-Way. So specifically going over the match between Liv Morgan, Peyton Royce, and Nikki Cross, where Taynara Conti came out and caused a distraction win for Peyton Royce, which is what led Nikki Cross to being inserted into this match, because she didn't get a fair match, because she specifically was targeted out and they tried to take her out of the match specifically for no actual reason. So we'll see where that goes. And surprisingly, not the main event, but just in the middle of the show, the women's battle royale. So, which included, and I'm going to list off all of them that are in it. So Taynara Conti, Rhea Ripley, Zeta, Dakota Kai, Reina Gonzalez, Aaliyah, Vanessa Bourne, Sage Beckett, Santana Garrett, Abby Lath, also known as Princess Kimberly, Sarah Logan, Lacey Evans, Candice LeRae, of course, Mrs. Johnny Wrestling, Bianca Belair, Mercedes Martinez, Billie Kay with Peyton Royce just sort of on the sidelines, and Nikki Cross. And Nikki Cross, of course, gets taken out early because Taynara Conti goes after her again.
Mm-hmm.
And stays out of the match for some time, and then mid-match comes back in, basically cleans house, ends up being the winner. So the Fatal 4-Way is set. It is Kairi Sane versus Ember Moon versus Peyton Royce versus Nikki Cross for the vacant NXT Women's Champion at NXT War Games. So that's going to probably be a really good match. I'm pretty excited.
I'm super excited for War Games.
I'm excited for the pay-per-view in general. I'm also really excited because I would be happy with almost any of those 4 women winning.
Yeah.
My main preference is Ember Moon, I'm going to be honest.
Really?
I like Ember Moon a whole lot. The corkscrew stunner off the top rope is amazing. And it's really rare to see anyone do that sort of move, man or woman.
I would not be surprised if she wins, since she challenged, Asuka. Her challenges were very strong.
Yeah. I feel like they might give it to Sane.
I kind of feel like that's the way they're going to go with. Which would be interesting.
Yeah.
If they do.
But we'll see. Yeah. We're gonna do a whole nother prediction show specifically for that.
Yeah.
Because we could.
Excited for that one, actually.
I know, I am too. So then... After that, there's a video interview from McIntyre. He's leaving the gym. Then Zelina Vega, Thea Trinidad, comes out and is like, "Hey, where's Andrade Almas' title shot?" And he's like, "Yeah, you tell your boy."
Is she?
Huh?
Whose girlfriend is she?
She is Austin Aries' fiance.
Austin Aries, that's right.
So then, basically McIntyre, right? McIntyre responds like, "You gotta tell your boyfriend to come out and ask me himself like a real man." Ooh. So after that, Aleister Black's match never happens. He was supposed to fight someone, yes. And then it never happens because Velveteen Dream, as he's, how Aleister Black's like being lifted up or whatever.
I did catch that. That's one part.
Velveteen Dream just comes out, beats him up, ties him up in the ring ropes, and it's like, "Say my name."
Say my name, say my name.
I like Velveteen Dream. I've always really liked Patrick Clark.
It's going to be interesting how they
I think he does really well with this.
Play this out. I can't see him, I said before, I can't see him being brought up to the main roster as Velveteen Dream.
Patrick Clark, the Velveteen Dream.
I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with this. If he'll, change his name, include his name, come up
do something,
something else. I don't know.
Who knows? But
it's different. I like the gimmick.
But I'm interested to see who's going to end up winning this.
Because
I'm
Black.
I feel like Aleister Black's probably going to be the one to end up winning, but I like what Patrick Clark's been doing. I like what the Velveteen Dream's been doing.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think Aleister Black would last on the main roster. I think he'd get lost in the shuffle way too quickly. I think his style, the whole, mixed martial arts thing, would get lost super easy in the shuffle.
He's also super skinny.
He is. He's a really small guy. So I just can't see it it working. When you throw him out there with Braun Strowman, it's not believable.
He's gonna snap in half.
You throw him
like
out
I mean
there
that literally.
with anybody on the main roster, and
he's built very
he's
different.
very small. So I don't know. Where'd Angie go? She was right here. So I don't know. I don't know how it'll work. I kind of feel the same way with Kenta a little bit. Like I don't know if he'll survive on the main roster, or if they'll throw him up the cruiser.
I don't know where he's
the
gone.
205.
Where is Kenta?
Or if they'll try to do something with him and Shinsuke. I'm not against him doing something with Shinsuke because I think that would be awesome. Not to stereotype them together, but just the fact that we've never gotten to see Shinsuke and Kenta together would be great.
It's a waste. That they have, like everything that they haven't done.
I mean, I just can only see their tag team finisher being the go to sleep followed up with Kinshasa. Who's going to kick out of that?
No one.
Nobody. I mean,
Braun Strowman.
Well, maybe Braun Strowman. You wouldn't be able to get him up and they go to sleep.
You doubt? No.
I doubt.
I would doubt him too.
I totally
I love
doubt
him,
that.
but he is like less than half his size.
But I mean, yeah, that would be totally a mainstay tag team. Like, strap them and leave it on them.
Forever.
If Kenta ever gets called up to the main roster.
So
some guys have been down there a long time.
Well, the next match that happens was Andrade Cien Almas versus Roddy Strong. Strong, of course. Pre-match with Thea Trinidad going, Andrade Cien Almas is more dominant than Roderick Strong. He's not weak like Roderick Strong is. So there's that. Of course, Almas ends up winning.
I was surprised
after a hammerlock DDT, which I believe is titled La Sombra.
I'm surprised he won.
I am too. I mean, they've been wanting to push him for a while, and I'm glad that they.
I think I just had it on like in the background, and I was like,
well, I'm glad they finally. I'm glad they're finally sort of using him well.
They need to,
because he was a really big acquisition.
It was a huge acquisition to just squander, like they have been.
Yeah.
I remember, I was watching some of his earlier matches. I was like, I can't believe this guy is jobbing. So much.
But I mean, I thought it was really cool actually how they used his feud prior to this with Johnny Gargano, who was a huge beloved fan favorite, to really get him that heel heat that he was lacking before.
Yeah, I think so.
So.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Cien. He's 100.
How heavy is Cien?
I want to say he's 220 or something.
Okay, so he is bigger than the 205 limit.
Yeah.
He is a small guy.
He would be a cruiserweight by old school cruiserweight standards, but not by today's.
Yeah, don't know how they'll use him.
Yeah. So the last thing that ended up happening, after Roderick Strong loses, the Undisputed Era comes in, and it's like, I know you lost this match, Roderick Strong, but I don't think you're a loser. But you can join us.
And be a winner.
Yeah, essentially. And they like outstretch to him an armband, which he just sort of looks at, doesn't respond to, but takes. And that's the end of it. And the first thing I thought was, Keone Cook called this. Keone Cook called this a month ago, and I'm upset that he might be right.
It's definitely crazy that NXT is booked so much better than the main rosters, both main shows.
Oh,
of
easily.
Course, it's run by Triple H and Regal.
Because it's Trips' baby.
So I mean, we do know who's running the shows and who gets the final say, and it is a different set.
Well, and where all of these, where all of these things are coming from.
But they don't have to deal with the TV aspect like the main roster does.
Not quite the same, yeah.
But they are so much better shows. And it's a shorter time period too. A lot of people say that the extra hour really hurts Raw.
Oh, it does. And you can see it even from the difference of Raw and SmackDown, where SmackDown's a lot more effective of using their time.
So I don't know when the day comes where the power shifts within how WWE is run, what they'll do. I would think that they, maybe they will kind of take another look at some of those things and say, okay, hey, as a company, it would be better if we cut Raw down time and maybe use that hour elsewhere on the USA Network for something. Please don't let it be like a recap show that they've done over the years. But hey, an hour for women's wrestling would not be a bad idea.
Book it.
I don't know. NXT is the proving ground for Triple H right now, and if anything, it has proved that he is well capable
of taking the reins.
Of taking the reins and booking a really good show with guys who aren't as well known as people in the main roster. And making stars.
Oh, yeah. I mean, probably I think both my favorite success story and the biggest success story from NXT is probably Kevin Owens.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people would argue Seth Rollins, but Kevin Owens breezed through NXT. Yeah. He was there for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I mean, while he already had a lot of the tools that he needed to get ahead, he with how they were able to work with him, he was really able to sort of come into his own as a WWE superstar.
I think in hiring Kevin with his reputation thus far was a huge risk for them. So I mean, he proved himself well beyond the doubt in NXT, and it was a huge success because I think his ROH run, and then there was, he had kind of let himself go at one point.
Arguable.
Well, I mean, yeah, he really kind of let himself go for a wrestling standard. Like he put on a lot of weight there at that one point.
Yeah, but he wasn't really.
He wasn't
hindered
into
by
it, and he wasn't hindered by it. But I mean, it was visibly, enough that made people question his commitment, I guess you would say, as far as everything. So I think it's a huge success for NXT.
Definitely.
Him to come through there as quick as he did, and as triumphant.
And I mean,
because let's be honest, Samoa Joe,
successful.
Shinsuke, Balor, Rude, none of those are like super success stories because we knew they were going to go to the main roster.
Yeah.
Eventually, like if they didn't, then it would be a huge tragedy.
Travesty,
tragedy, and travesty together. A travesty. Making up words as we go.
Yep.
Writers. That's what we do. So yeah. I think if Kenta actually makes it to the main roster, it'll be a success story as well.
Please. Please.
Considering.
And on that note, this is Midcard Mana signing off. This is, of course, the Loose Cannon.
And the Wrestling Connoisseur.
And that was WWE. This week in WWE.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell. In a slightly larger nutshell.
Kind of a big...
It sounded
giant
weird.
Squirrel of WWE.
Yeah.